Let's talk the UK monarchy. This blood-stained crown that Charles is sitting on. And y'all think like he's a good person. That throne he's sitting on, bro, I'm just gonna let this journalist here from the first post to tell y'all guys about that throne. Superficially, y'all think like these people are really enjoying life around that palace, but I tell y'all guys, no. Those people are most miserable people around this planet. Because, well, the throne that these people inherited. Okay, let's listen.
Flashback. The year is 1066, so no cameras. We're doing portraits today. 38-year-old William landed on the shores of Britain. He landed here, at this place, called Pevensey, opposite France. His army had some 7,000 men. But what was he doing here? Trying to defeat Harold, the King of England. Spoiler alert, Harold lost. His army was defeated, and he was killed in the Battle of Hastings. There was a new king in town. The 38-year-old conqueror William was crowned in this building on Christmas Day in the year 1066. Looks familiar? That's Westminster Abbey, the same church where King Charles got his crown today. Charles and William are separated by 34 generations. William was the first Norman king. Charles is the latest. Between them is a story of power, violence, and ambition. A story of murdered relatives and looted colonies. You thought the Meghan Markle thing was a scandal. Wait till you hear this story. Back to the days with no internet. 34 years have passed since William conquered England. His third son is on the throne. He's also a William. William II. That's the English royal family for you. Big on power, low on creative names. Either way, William II is hunting in southern England one day. Disaster struck. His own noble killed him with an arrow. What's more, nobody even bothered to recover his body. It was an arrow maker who eventually found the dead king. Sounds fishy? Many historians agree. They point fingers at William's younger brother Henry. He was a man in a hurry. He first secured the treasury in Winchester, then rushed to London and made himself king. Rumor is he had his elder brother killed. And the UK royal history is filled with such betrayals and murders. But as they say, what goes around comes around. Just ask Henry's great-grandson, King John, who took the throne in 1199. But he had a rival, his brother's son, named Arthur. Guess what King John did to his 16-year-old nephew/rival? First, he ordered his eyes and genitals to be removed. It was so cruel, even the jailer refused. So the king took matters into his own hands. He personally murdered his nephew and threw his body into a river. It was a sign of things to come. Cut to the 15th century, one of the bloodiest chapters in English history was unfolding. It was called the War of Roses. Nothing rosy about it, though. It was 30 years of ruthless and barbaric civil war. There were two players, the House of Lancaster and the House of York. Their armies fought a famous battle in 1471. The Yorks won, but it was a bloodbath. Around 2,000 Lancastrian soldiers were slaughtered. That place is still called the Bloody Meadow. With the war done, the Yorks set about ruling. Their king was Edward IV, great general, bad sibling. He grew suspicious of his brother George, the Duke of Clarence. By now you know where this is going. Edward imprisoned his brother and had him killed. He was drowned in a pot of wine. Not my idea of a sweet death. But like I said, what goes around comes around. In 1483, Edward IV died. His successor, his 12-year-old son, also Edward. The young boy was heading to London when his uncle stopped him. He put Edward and his brother in the Tower of London. Nobody has seen them since. The uncle made himself king, but decades later, two skeletons were found in the tower. Did they belong to Edward and his brother? Your guess is as good as mine. The murderous uncle did not stay king for long. Just 2 years later, he lost the throne. If you think things have been violent so far, think again. What you just saw was the trailer. The movie is just beginning. Our murderous uncle's defeat signaled the start of a new reign, the House of Tudor. They had 5 monarchs, but one stands out, Henry VIII. Being his spouse was like playing Russian roulette. Very risky stuff. Think again. What you just saw was the trailer. The movie is just beginning. Our murderous uncle's defeat signaled the start of a new reign, the House of Tudor. They had 5 monarchs, but one stands out, Henry VIII. Being his spouse was like playing Russian roulette. Very risky stuff. Henry divorced 2 of his wives and executed 2 more. In fact, he had a thing for executions. In 36 years, he executed around 57,000 people. That's around 4 people per day. Among them was Thomas Cromwell, great statesman, champion reformer, but a bad judge of character. Cromwell was Henry's chief minister. He did 2 very important jobs. One was to arrange marriages for the king. The second was to reform Christianity. Both things came back to haunt him. Henry, being Henry, had a problematic marriage with Cromwell's chosen bride. The result? Cromwell lost his head. Henry's daughter too had a vengeful streak. Elizabeth I. Her rivalry with Mary, the Queen of Scots, is legendary. Fun fact, Mary was also Elizabeth's cousin. Did not stop her from doing what she did though. Elizabeth imprisoned Mary for 18 and a half years. Then in 1587, she was executed. It took 3 swings of the axe to behead her. And you thought Game of Thrones was bad. Mary's story does not end here. Elizabeth died without children. Guess who succeeded her? The son of Mary, the same queen she executed. He took the throne in 1603. This was around the time when Britain started thinking about colonies. Soon the bloodlust would be exported worldwide. But more on that later. Around the mid-17th century, Charles I became king.
Of Almighty God, to celebrate the solemnity of our royal coronation at Westminster.
He was a delusional ruler. He thought he was appointed by God. When the parliament disagreed, he went to war. Charles was defeated in 1645 and executed 3 years later. That's right, a king was executed. And with that, Britain became a republic. No king, no royal family. But as they say, a dog's tail can never be straightened. In 1660, the royals returned. Charles II became king. After centuries of killing sons, brothers, and nephews, they were ready for the next stage, colonialism. Close your eyes and pick any country on the globe. Chances are, Britain invaded it. Around 90% of all countries were invaded by the British. They became the superpower of the 18th century. Their economic model? Slavery. To be clear, Britain did not start the slave trade. That would be Portugal and Spain, but Britain perfected it. They transported around 3.4 million Africans to their colonies. 2.7 million reached alive, the rest perished. This was all done with royal approval. Remember?
Did you all hear that part? Did you all hear that part?
Britain perfected it. They transported around 3.4 million Africans to their colonies. 2.7 million reached alive, the rest perished. This was all done with royal approval. Remember Charles II? During his rule, the Company of Royal Adventurers into Africa was set up. Nothing adventurous about it. This company shipped more slaves than any other. Its shareholders included royal family members. If Charles II institutionalized slavery, Charles III is carrying its burden. That's the current king. His direct ancestors bought slaves in Virginia. We are yet to hear an apology, though. Looking back, what do we make of this empire, of this throne? It was built on the blood of murdered relatives, on the sweat and blood of slaves and colonial subjects. By some accounts, 100 million Indians died prematurely because of British policy. 100 million Indians in just 40 years. They also took resources worth $45 trillion, which is 15 times Britain's current GDP. The entire world has had to pay for the royal family's mistakes. The First World War was such a case. Don't believe me? Take a look at these men. They look the same, don't they? Well, because they're all cousins. One is George V, King of England. The other is Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. The third is Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany. All 3 were rulers during the First World War, and all 3 were also cousins. Their rivalry ended with the death of 20 million people. This flashback is a reminder of the real history of the British throne, the blood they spilled, the innocents they executed, and the lands they plundered. The throne soiled by cruelty and ruthlessness.
So, this is the story of this throne Charles is sitting on. So you're expecting this guy to have a heart? Y'all heard relatives killing relatives, unaliving them, uncles unaliving nephews, locking them up in obscurity, And a few years later, what are they gonna find of the people that they locked in the tower? Skeleton of human beings. Can you imagine? Those are the people that Meghan Markle has to deal with. Those are the kind of people that Harry has to deal with. Those his family members. And this is the legacy of his roots. That's what these people do. When I do tell y'all guys publicly here, these people are the ones who mistreated us. They sold us. And they don't like us to talk about it. Hopefully this video is going to kind of hang around here for a minute. Because they don't want us to tell the truth. This is what hurts me. It hurts me when we want to tell our side of truth. The media, YouTube, and everyone is just gonna stop us from doing it by blocking our channels and sending weird emails to us. And they go in there to tell you AI did find something that is not allowed by YouTube. But what is allowed? Was selling us allowed? Was torturing us in Africa allowed? That cruel colonization, whatever you call it, was that allowed? Everything that happened to American Indians, it was allowed. We should talk about it. We should just take it and say, yes, that's the way it should be. So cruelty is in their DNA. And no way Charles is going to change. And no way William is going to change. Because he inherited the blood. Those are angry, terrible, cruel people. You heard it from this journalist from First Post. If you want to watch a full video, just go to the First Post. You're going to find the video. You can't believe what the Royal Reporters came up with. These people are putting articles online stating this was the first time they saw Kate Middleton for 6 months. But remember, didn't they bring a couple pictures around here? They told us it was Kate Middleton. Remember, the Sun came with a video from the Windsor Farm Market. They told us that they confirmed that was Kate Middleton. And right now they have on their own papers saying that they haven't seen her for 6 months. And the UK people are quiet. Well, this is how they play with y'all. And you just take it. It's all right. We can't say anything. And right now they're gaslighting people. They do not want people to say anything around. But you can't shut me up. I will keep talking. Let's listen to what Philosophilia has to say about all this nonsense.
It seems our calls for proof of life were heard, because yesterday, after evident reluctance and months of equivocation, Princess Catherine showed up in public. This time, for the first time in nearly 6 months, there could really be no doubt. I promised I'd crack a bottle of champagne if they gave us proof of life, and here we are. Don't come at me with your crazy clone theories. There's no way a 5-month-old, fully grown being could walk in those heels, let alone have the trust of her children. This had to be Kate. Which begs a series of bothersome questions. What were they thinking? Who signed off on Catherine going into seclusion for almost 6 months? And why was the no photo updates policy allowed when they know full well how damaging no news can be? How closely were they monitoring social media alarm, and how much did it affect the timing of her reappearance? Who, if anyone, masterminded this ham-fisted strategy for managing a serious illness in a key member of a depleted team of active royals? And why did no media pick up on the rupture of hallowed tradition and the blatant breach of 21st century communications expectations and question it? When it comes to the royal family, is the Fourth Estate completely subdued in Britain? I don't have the answers to any of these questions, only the temerity to raise them. But with trust in the monarchy running low and Charles's slimmed down outfit looking rather emaciated, unlike Catherine, who looked thin but otherwise radiant, they must have been expecting this long game to cause controversy. Maybe that was the intention. Maybe when it began, they thought, yeah, let's run with this. All publicity is good publicity. They should know better. Because Catherine already had a reputation for being work-shy, doing fewer royal duties than other senior royals. Her role as a royal mother might justify that, despite the nanny and servants. But more importantly, this looks to me, observing through heavily mediated sources from the other side of the planet, like the second time Catherine has failed to understand the constitutional impact of her personal choices and actions. Kate was in a unique position to support Meghan's integration into the family, and regardless of how difficult that might have been, and it would have been, it was a massive cross-cultural challenge. Once accepted by Queen Elizabeth, impact of her personal choices and actions. Kate was in a unique position to support Meghan's integration into the family, and regardless of how difficult that might have been, and it would have been, it was a massive cross-cultural challenge. Once accepted by Queen Elizabeth, it was essential from a constitutional point of view. This family's liaisons are iconic, emblematic, and diplomatic. Kate represented modern Britain. Meghan represented the Anglo-American alliance and, through her African roots, the Commonwealth. It was an astonishing challenge that Harry dropped on his family, and most of them tried their best to meet it. But when the media rolled it all in the gutter, the royals lost heart, and the Commonwealth is the weaker for it. This time, it seems, Her Highness has been testing the limits of royal accountability in the media age. Perhaps she did just seize on her illness as a chance to have a few months away from the constant broadcast scrutiny. But like I suggested in the very first video in this series, you would think a monthly update wouldn't be too taxing. It's not like she'd have to write or post it herself, just allow herself to be photographed. The number of people who commented on my posts with variants of "she dead" must have reached the thousands. People just could not imagine how a senior British royal could avoid public view for so long and still be alive. The few facts we had could, as I demonstrated, be put together in worrying ways. Hypotheses ranging from the banal to the fantastical popped up in foreign media, exploded around the internet, and still she did not appear. Until finally, reed slim and a little frail, but exquisite as ever, vertical and verifiable. So it seems, though we still divide into those who say they wouldn't and those who say sure they would, at least this time we can say they didn't. But we're still left with a bunch of questions about the royal family's diminishing role in public life. Who's making unacknowledged changes to strict royal commitment and authentication protocols, and why? Who's keeping an eye on all that? And just how accountable are the Windsors for their extraordinary privilege?
Well, they've never been accountable for anything. Never. And right now, to them, they do not even owe you any explanation, because they already lied to y'all guys. They told you the girl had big C. And the person with that big C looking that way, I don't care whatever Concha Caega is saying about it, about her having on tons of makeup. I don't know what kind of makeup that is. Makeup won't just make you just all of a sudden look young. Does it? I got eyelashes on. It doesn't make me look younger than I am. Your genetics make you look younger than you are. But when you have genetics from the hustlers like a Kate Middleton family, she came from a long line of hustlers. They hustle. All her great other ones, they hustled in England back in the day. They got deported to Australia. That's what the term they used to use before. It's not like you coming from your country, you getting deported back to your country. No, you get deported in Australia because you're a criminal in the United Kingdom. That's how they built that country, Australia. That's how they sent lots of those criminals from Great Britain back in the day. Read the history. So those are the people Kate Middleton originated from, the hustlers. Yeah, they long line of gangsters. Just look at her mama's eyes. That lady be hustling since she was on airplane. Yeah, she used to serve crackers, biscuits, crackers. That's what you call them in America. They call them biscuits in Europe. She used to serve biscuits and sardines on the airplane, on British Airlines. And she played the system, put down there some fictional business called the Party Pieces that never even existed. And all of a sudden, a few minutes ago, they're like, well, guess what? The debt were paid off. I don't know, whatever. The same newspapers that came down here tell us that Carol Middleton was in a deep debt and was bankrupt, and the Party Pieces was sold to someone. I don't know if that Party Pieces physically exists. If it does, y'all go there, film the area and send us the address. Send the proof of physical address for that Party Pieces business. Those are hustlers. So the newspapers saying the debt were paid off by... So apparently William paid off the $2 million debt. That's why Kate came back and she showed up on the balcony the other day, because their monarchy was so unpopular, so they didn't want to keep Kate away. They bribed her by paying those $2 million that her parents owned. That's why she showed up. Looking up like all put together. Girl, please, don't be playing with that big C. With that big C, you can't be walking in that shoe like that and standing on no balcony. Come on, people. What are you talking about? And also don't forget those royal jewels got stolen. There were almost $100,000 worth of jewels that got stolen. All those ones, they're just disappearing. Those news, you don't really see them anywhere. Just imagine Meghan Markle was the one who wore those jewels last time, and she was the one who saw them. And afterwards, they disappeared. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. By them hustlers, nobody are going to say a word. All right, my people, so please subscribe to Isabella Blackson channel. I say surprise because you know who I call surprised? It's Nana Aqua. Her face is surprised. She looks surprised. She looked surprised. Yeah, that's how Nana Aqua look like. That's what I wanted to say. So please subscribe to Isabella Back's channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to all the sassy friendly channels. Let's get our numbers up there, guys. I'm telling you, I'm just fighting with this YouTube here. It's not easy. So y'all, please like my videos, like all my everything there, and put your comments, and also share my videos so we could keep this channel here, because my channel is being threatened by these people because they hate the truth. And I'm going to tell them the truth. I don't care if I lose wherever. I will lose, but I'm going to still talk like anytime I get an opportunity, I will expose everything that's happening against our race. Our race is being threatened by everybody out here. Some people do it in a hiding, but these people are doing it out in the public. Why the hell you want us to shut up? Why the hell you want us to be quiet? We're gonna speak up, and we're gonna keep speaking up. So please, people, share my videos everywhere so we could grow this channel and make it a little bit solid, because the threat is just too much out here. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Bye for now. Well, I forgot to tell y'all, I found lots of stuff about the Prince of Wales title. That title also was stolen from the Wales. So I'm going to come and tell y'all guys about that one too. I love you, people. Bye-bye.